Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Graphic Novels. Actually, that's not the title of the last video, but it's pretty much like making a graphic novel. But this is part two. And so in this episode, we're actually just going to keep working on the character that we've been developing. This is our main character. We have a few updates. Update number one, she now has a name. Her name is Ophelia. Influenced by Guillermo del Toro's Pan's Labyrinth. Love that movie. Absolutely love how it took this kind of fairy tale fantasy element and merged it with reality, and it was masterpiece. Like, that is what he should have won the Oscar for. Wasn't a huge fan of what is called The Shape of Water. Watched it because I watch most of his movies. The only one I have not watched yet is what was it called? The Devil's Playground, I think is what it's called. I really want to watch it, but I can't like find it anywhere, so I might have to actually buy it to be able to watch it. But every other movie that I've seen from him has been nice. A very like a good like when he has a topic that I think he's like really passionate about, like his movies are bomb. And Pan's Labyrinth for me has been a staple classic in my top five favorite movies. It does have subtitles, FYI. I don't know if they have dubs or not, or they might. I don't know. But every version that I've watched, or every time I've watched it, it's always been, I think it's in Spanish, and I've just read the English subtitles. And like I'm at the point where I don't even need to listen to the movie. I just know what's going on. So so that's how many times I've seen this movie. Um, they must be putting a new roof on that house over there. Sorry, got a little sidetracked. I saw something like flying off of a house and I was like, "What?" Anyways, so we got a character name, so that's great. Again, I think this story, or at least this idea, is heavily influenced by Buffy the Vampire Slayer. As a huge fan, if you watched the last video, then you know that I was a huge fan of that show, and I've been wanting a vampire show, not like, not like, what was it, Supernatural? A Supernatural vampire show? I don't know. I feel like there was True Blood. Got into that, but then kind of lost my interest in it because like it was kind of going all over the place, and there was no settlement there anywhere. So I think after the first couple seasons, just kind of lost interest in it. Um, what was after that? Let's see. Angel, sure, that was a spinoff of Buffy. Didn't love Angel as much as Buffy, but became a fan because when Buffy ended, I think there was like one other season left of Angel before it ended, so I was still into it. Um, of course, like Twilight and stuff, but I don't know. Interview with a Vampire, obviously that the or like the movie, based off of the Anne Rice book. Love that movie. I absolutely love that movie. Have never read the book, but I did watch. Um, we have started watching the series Interview with a Vampire. I'm really into it, so that's kind of feeding my vampire need of like some type of vampire show that's good. Um, I think I was going to talk about Twilight. I only got into Twilight because I was like I was reading like YA, like vampire, werewolf, like witches and shape-shifting books when I was in high school. And I used to read the books by Amelia Atwater Rhodes. I would read like all of her books. I loved her books so much because they dealt with vampires and shapeshifters and witches and werewolves and all of that. And I really enjoyed it. Um, I'm so amazed that like none of her books have been turned into movies. There was also a book called I think Blood and Chocolate that I really liked. That I believe got turned into a movie, but I don't think it was really good. I honestly don't really remember the book though. I just remember a little bit. It had vampires and werewolves and but anyways, back to Twilight. Like Twilight, no offense to fans that are, people that are fans to Twilight. I never read any of the books. Like it just didn't interest me enough to read the books. So I watched the movies and the movies are all right. Um they're not I don't know, they don't have the oomph that I would want from a vampire series or story. Like yes it has like a love triangle or whatever in it, but to be honest, like it just isn't I don't know. Like it didn't really dig into vampires enough for me. Like it just kind of they felt kind of like an accessory. Like if what's his name? If what's the guy's name? Edward? If Edward wasn't a vampire, like I really don't know the appeal of this story. Aside from it just being like, I don't know, a romance, a little bit of a creepy romance. Okay, maybe even more creepier than a little bit, because it Edward is problematic, and I think we all know that. But I don't know. I think the elements of vampires and werewolves and stuff is kind of interesting, but I don't know. There's just something about it that never rubbed me the right way, you know? um like when I think about like the Interview with a Vampire show and movie, like there's just something about the vampires in those series and in that show and probably in the book um that I don't know, they're just alluring. They're just it's 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 interesting to see like the life of them. I feel like there's another vampire show that we watched and now I'm like I can't think of it that kind of had the same feeling, but I can't think of it right now. Yeah, I said True Blood, but True Blood kind of had that going on for it. Um, and I guess also like the vampires didn't really like they didn't get into anything really. Like they didn't really fight. They did have that fight like however many books in or movies in, but like there wasn't I don't know, they weren't gritty enough for me, I guess. Like they just weren't yeah, they didn't do it for me. Um so Buffy, even though this is more about the Slayer and like killing the vampires, and less about like vampires, whereas like Interview with a Vampire is more about the vampire, you know. Um, so I feel like it's kind of funny that like with Buffy there really isn't that element of like I guess human and vampire romantic relationship. There was with Angel, but I also again found that very problematic because the minute his soul was gone, he would have killed her. And I believe he tried a few times. Um, and then there was the relationship with Spike, who was also a vampire. Um, I am Team Spike, but obviously Spike is problematic. Um, Many reasons. But the main one for me was, I believe it was the fifth season, um, fifth or sixth season. It was before he went. Spoiler alert! It was before he went to go get his soul. Um, there was a there was a I don't even want to. I don't know how to. I don't. Yeah, there's no way to like beat around it. But ew, bad choice of words. There's no way to go around it. Um, but he pretty much tried to sexually assault Buffy, and that is just like I don't know. I don't know how you come back from that. And obviously he did because he was still in the show. I think there is a little bit of redemption there because he did go through some really horrendous trials to like his request literally was like make me the man that she needs me to be. And So I feel like there's some redemption there, but like the fact that he did that, but then again, you also have to think of it like, well, he was a vampire with no soul. Like he's going to do these things because that is who he is. Um, so I think like him going to go get his soul was a way for him to not do that ever again, because he had no, not restraint, but like I think, I guess when you think about it, like vampires, do they have some type of like right or wrong, or they just don't care because they're vampires and they can do what they want? Sorry, going off on a little bit of a tangent here. I've always been so like kind of interested in this topic of like whether Spike is good or bad, or is he like, is there this gray area with his character? And I do feel like there is a gray area there, with him because, like I said, like he went to go get his soul back. Like he said, you know, I effed up. And I don't really know if he was intentionally looking to get his soul back per se, or like he was just like, he said something about like giving her what she deserves. And I don't know if that meant like him trying to hurt her, or he was just kind of fed up with the like back and forth. I don't know. Like there's nothing that really justifies his actions, but even so, I don't know. It's just like I still care for the character, and I know this is like a fantasy world, and I do feel like I said before, there was a little bit of redemption, and like if Buffy felt okay to continue to have him in her life, um, then that's her decision. That's the writer's decision, I guess. Um, but I really, really was upset when they did that, which I guess like they had to do something really serious for him to like go make this decision, I guess. So and those are the things that you have to think about as a writer and think about for your characters. Like, yeah, you don't want to kill off a character that everybody loves, but if it services the story, then you got to do what serves the story, like not what serves just them being there. Like sometimes characters just kind of run out of time. They just don't have um, they just don't have any space anymore in the story, and sometimes we gotta say bye to them. Um, so with that said, let's talk about the characters that are in this story, and let's try to talk a little less about Buffy, but I can go on about Buffy for hours because it was literally one of my favorite shows when I was in high school. Um, but yeah, so in this story, it's called Roller Slayer, and I'm gonna reintroduce myself. We're like 20 minutes in, and I haven't even, said who I am. Well, my name is Keisha. I'm an author illustrator, mainly in picture books, but I'm starting to dabble into graphic novels and comics, and just kind of developing these more like sequential stories. And so I figured that I would start doing a graphic novel that I don't have a lot of expectation for, but I just want to get better at m- making these longer form stories, because picture books are only roughly 32 to 40 pages, and comic books and graphic novels are like hundreds of pages of artwork and story. So I'm excited to kind of have this kind of character and story idea that I'm passionate about and excited about, but I also needed some type of like forum to be able to, one, keep myself accountable, work on this project, in between other projects, and then also be able to um, kind of just put it out there and just, maybe get feedback from people if they want to give feedback. Um, thoughts and opinions, leave them in the comments. Um, but right now, you're watching me draw my initial cover idea that I was thinking about. I'm not really sure if that's really what the cover would be, but I think this is just a way for me to like kind of get to know the character, kind of see like what are her tools, what are the things that she you know, takes with her, like what's her EDC almost. Like she wears a backpack. She has like a little hip satchel thing. She's got a stake on the side of her leg. She also wears skates, roller skates, to, you know, get to places faster, obviously. Um, and she's, you know, she's got a pretty cool hairstyle. We do update this in the next episode. We update her how she looks, because as much as I really love this version, um, when you start developing these stories, like you do more iterations of these characters until you really find a version that one you love to draw, two you think looks amazing and you're into, and three that I think serves the story a little more and the world that you're building. So I feel like the current character we're looking at, while overall, like, this is what the character looks like, we did change some things. We also decided, or I also decided, to go with a more natural eye instead of using dots. I felt like that it might be more expressive if we went that route, and it just made sense to me to do it like that instead of using dots. Um, she also no longer just has like free flowing hair, um, that kind of has a little bit of a curl to it, but not too much. It was more froey, curly, but now we've actually switched that over to locks, just because I think she just looks more, I don't know, badass that way. Like with her head, her hair is still shaved on the sides, and I think also in the back, but the top of her hair is locks, and I'm excited to show you guys what that looks like, to show you all what that looks like. Um, you'll see that probably in the next episode, which will be more character development and also go into like facial features and different emotions and things like that. Um, so here I'm just kind of seeing how things are going to work out. Like she's got knee pads and elbow pads on because, you know, roller skates. I think I realized later on that I made this knee pad just a little too low. And so I think I do move it up a little bit at some point. Let's see. What else is there? I don't think. I don't know. Oh, well, we also have figured out like side, other side characters. She has two best friends, kind of like Buffy, where she had like Willow and Xander. However, there will not be a main character and whatever the boy best friend is love thing. That's not happening here. I am toying with the idea of our Willow, quote unquote, character, um, who I think in Buffy, Willow was in love with Xander, but Xander just did not see Willow that way. Um, but I'm thinking that we're going to have our Xander character, who, FYI, his name is now Finn. Phineas is his name. Let's actually talk about the names real quick. Naming characters is very hard, I think. Sometimes names come to me really easily and I'm just like, yes, that's the name. But a lot of the time, I will start with a name and then eventually, through the process of development and writing and just character development, I tend to change the names. So, like, I think originally I was toying around with the name Tiffany for some reason, and my wife didn't seem to like that. So I was like, okay, I guess not Tiffany. And then she came up with the name Carrie, but then Carrie to me just felt like all I can think in reference is like to that movie Carrie with the girl and the prom and the blood and all of that. So I was like, I don't think Carrie's it. Um, and so I really wanted names that would just kind of be unique, but not to the point where it's like overly unique to where, I don't know, that it just didn't, it, like I was trying too hard to fit these names to these characters. And so I'm really liking the idea of Phineas. They call him Finn for short, so that is her first best friend. He is not in love with our main character, Ophelia, which I think I mentioned that's her name. We've come from Tiffany, Carrie to Ophelia. They may call her O for short. I'm not sure. Um, or maybe like I don't know how they would come up with a nickname for her from her name, but I'm thinking that that is going to be her name. I don't feel like changing it. Like I've slept on it for a few days and I don't feel like changing it. So I feel like her name is Ophelia. Um, and I believe Phineas is the best friend's name because again, I have not changed his name and it's been a few days. Now we're just looking for the name for her sidekick. I might go into like Shakespeare and look and see what names that he's used for different stories, for different characters. Um, and we'll see. I actually might look into Shakespeare and just see like if there's any stories that I could kind of riff off of to kind of start this ideation phase of like how do we intro this character? What is this story about? Um, and things like that. Sometimes doing that does help, like having mentor text or having just something to kind of guide you in your own writing. And it's not stealing, it's not plagiarism. It's honestly just using it for ideas. It's the same way that you would use like brainstorming or like story cards or anything like that. Because honestly, like I don't think any idea is original. Every idea or story or thing we see has been a uh, just a different take on the same topic. Um, so, um, so I'm thinking something like that might be interesting. I just thought like a Romeo and Juliet type of thing, but I don't really know how that would work exactly. That would be a whole different story, a whole different set of characters. So we'll put that on the back burner, but we'll think about it at another time. I don't know. I don't think anybody's ever done like vampire Romeo and Juliet type of thing. Like, I'm not saying like they're like one's a human, one's a vampire, and they come from different families, that type of thing. I'm thinking of it in the sense of um, I guess maybe like a Buffy and Angel type thing. Like he's a vampire, she's a vampire slayer. Um, Definitely coming from kind of the different because she's supposed to like kill him because he's a vampire, but he's a vampire that's helping her. Um, Anyways, so I think I might do that. I might look into some Shakespeare stories and see um, one for names because I need a name for the second best friend, who is our like Willow character, who's like really smart, very book smart. Like she knows how to like do research, do her thing, but she's really cool. You know what I mean? Like she's not she is not the like nerdy character by any means. Like I guess she's kind of like Hermione, but not. Meaning like she's super cool, but she still likes to, do her reading and do her research and things like that. Also, Phineas is in love with her. And I'm trying to decide like if it's something that she knows and she's just not interested, or she's just not noticing that he is in love with her. So it's pretty much like the flip of like Willow and Xander, where Xander did not realize that Willow was madly in love with him, and then Xander was madly in love with Buffy. I don't want that kind of dynamic in this trio of a friendship because I feel like it could go a few ways. Like if Phineas was in love with Ophelia, like and Ophelia is not in love with Phineas or doesn't like him like that, like really just likes him as a friend, I feel like that would be weird in the dynamic. And I think it was weird for Buffy and Xander for a while because like he was really into her and then eventually he got over it, I guess. Um so I don't know. I just don't want that to be like that's why he's friends with her because she's hot or because he's really attracted to her. I want them to be friends because they're interested in a lot of the same things. I think Phineas is going to have some type of power or ability. I've been drawing him with these like circle these eyes that are like they're circles but they're not filled in. Y'all will see that eventually when we get to like the the secondary character development. And I don't know, something about it just makes it feel very mystical, very like magical, very like, is he like, what, like, can he see visions? And then oh, that was another idea that I was thinking, like maybe he can see the visions of like the people that she has to help, or something like that. I feel like it's like That's So Raven, or like or some, there's another show, I think it was oh, what's that show with Eliza Dushku? She played Faith in Buffy. She was in True Calling. Is that what's it called? True Calling? True something. Where she was like, she could see visions or something, and she'd have to like help the person or prevent their death or something like that. So I mean, I think that might be interesting for our main character Ophelia to have this kind of like best friend who can see these visions, and they're like, okay, well, this is what we have, this is who we have to save today. And obviously like it could get expanded on from there. Like it's not just like save their life, it's like, oh, it's a bigger thing within the world in which they live. Like, it branches out into multiple avenues. I don't know if any of that made sense, but if you understand what I mean, then comment down below and let me know if you think that's a good idea. But I do like the idea of like another character being kind of like magical in a sense, but not too much to the point where like it overshadows Ophelia, because Ophelia is our main character, so we don't want her. We don't want like another Slayer, or we don't want like another. We don't want like another. I don't know, another magical character that just like can be just as badass as her. You know what I mean? It's almost like when we had what, two Buffys, or not two Buffys, two Slayers. We had Faith and we had Buffy, and like having the two of them was just, even though they're very different, but having the two of them just, I don't know, it just kind of set like an imbalance, or it was too balanced, or whatever. I don't know. It just didn't. I didn't feel like it worked until they made Faith like go towards the bad side, right? So I don't want to have a character that has. I don't want any of the characters to have like an equal balance of like strength or ability. Like they all need to kind of have their own strengths, and like Ophelia is the muscle kind of, and Phineas is the like, this person is in trouble, this is who we have to save. But of course she'll have like, um our quote unquote Willow character will be like the brains who kind of, figures out like how to defeat the person or help them, or like do the do all that like research, the background stuff, right? um or like is able to tell them what spells they need, or what potions or whatever. um we are thinking of having, I know I say we, but I am also thinking of having um a Watcher-esque character. And I don't really know how to tackle that. I know that this is like feeling a lot like Buffy, but it's honestly, it's heavily influenced. So I don't think the stories are going to be at all the same. But I also feel like because I can't get enough more Buffy, except for like the comic books, I feel like I kind of have to make my own thing that is what I want. And since no one else is giving it to me, I'm going to do it for myself then. Um, but so I'm trying to figure out like the Watcher character, like who is that and what are they called? I think I thought about like maybe Ophelia was is in the foster system, and she finally got like fostered into this family, or not even family, it's honestly just the mom, and it's a lady who decides to adopt her, and or foster her. I'm not sure which one just yet. And and she's literally her watcher. Like that's why she adopted her. It just kind of worked out to where she doesn't have to like take a job at the school to be like the librarian type of thing, to kind of keep an eye on her and make sure she's like, make sure she has all the answers to the questions that she might have, about like what her responsibility as you know, a, a vampire hunter, slayer, whatever is. So I'm thinking that that is where we're going with this because I do want her to have a mom or some type of parental that isn't in the shadows about what she's doing because I feel like there's too much, even though there is that kind of like fun, like, oh, they don't know what's going on, they're so oblivious. That's fun, but at the same time, I could find it very annoying because it's like there's all this like stuff that they don't know that's going on with their kid, and but they can't tell them because they don't think that they would accept it. Or if you think about it, I guess it's like um, kids talking to their parents in general about the things that are going on with them. And I would want to have that relationship be open in there from the beginning so that we don't have this kind of like, I can't tell my mom what's going on because that would shatter her world type of thing. No, let's be open and talk about it from the beginning. So I think that's the route I'm gonna go. Is that she's gonna probably be a foster kid. We also have to figure out her origins for her powers and how that happens. I don't necessarily want it to be like Buffy where like she turns 16 or 15 and she just embodies her powers because she becomes a woman. Like I feel like maybe she's had these powers since she was little, and that's one of the reasons why she's kind of bounced around from foster care to foster. Um, and until she does get to the foster home where her her watcher, quote unquote, does foster her and take her in. And I wonder if there was some type of like breaking the rules for this parent, for this watcher, for this mom. Mom is going to be an acronym for like excuse me, for like what is it called? Like managing of mission. Managing of missions. I don't know. Something like that. I know it's really bad right now, but I haven't had a ton of time to really think about it. But whoever this parent is going to be, I'm wondering if like they broke the rules. Like maybe they're not allowed to step in um, until a certain point or something, or maybe a certain year of age. Like they can't step in until like they're 16 to like tell them about kind of like Harry Potter, right? Where Dumbledore and Hagrid and I can't remember the other teacher, McGonagall, took Harry to his aunt and uncle's house. I'm not exactly sure if that's how it happened in the books because I never read the books, just watched the movies. So we're going off of movies here, people. I read a lot when I was little, but I really only read like Amelia Atwater Rhodes books. I didn't read Harry Potter. I didn't read Twilight. I didn't read any of those other books. If it wasn't Amelia Atwater Rhodes, I wasn't reading it. So sorry. But I'm going off the movies. So it's kind of like how they dropped Harry off at his aunt and uncle's house for them to take care of him. And then they didn't step in until he was of age to go to the Hogwarts, right? So maybe I'm thinking of it kind of like that, where like she kind of bounced around, which I also feel like would make her kind of hard, would make her kind of not trusting, would probably put a lot of scars on her, to be honest. But I also feel like that would give a lot of character development for her to like um, work on those walls that she's probably built up and also open up to, her best friends, like the two that are going to become her best friends. So I think that I feel like that gives like some really good like um, character development opportunities, I think. So we're going to put a pin in that. And that's probably where we're going to head. Her having bounced around into different foster homes. Um, it's not something that we necessarily have to show. Like, it could just be like, that is her story. Like, that is how she winds up at the front door of her new foster parents' home. Is she the new kid? I guess so. She's going to be a new kid at this high school. Um, and maybe Phineas and our quote unquote Willow character. I'm going to keep saying quote unquote because I don't want y'all to be like, you're just ripping Buffy, but she is the Willow character. Like that's how I'm building this team, this squad, right? Like it's Buffy, Xander, Willow, and we have Ophelia, Phineas, and I don't know what the third character's name is. If you have an idea for the third character's name, leave a comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. She is okay. Here is the visual of our third main character, or secondary character, if that's what you want to call it. Um, she is she is fuller figured. She's not like, like super obese or anything like that, but you know, she's got hips. um, she's super smart. She's not tall, but she's not short. She's like maybe 5'2", 5'3". Um, debating on if she should wear glasses. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking she's going to. I did a poster the other night, kind of just diving into more of the characters and what they're going to look like. Um, I did come up a little bit with what the mom character is going to look like. She actually is going to look a lot like I forgot what her name is, but the character from the Sandman in the Netflix show. Um, it's the black lady. I think she's bald, but she's like I don't know if she's the librarian for the Sandman or what exactly her role is, but that character, she kind of looks like that character. Um, but she also is giving me Cynthia Revo currently, like no eyebrows, bald, like she looks like she could be supernatural. Um, like she's got this kind of mysterious element to her, but not really. You know what I mean? Like you could see that she might have some type of ability for something, but you don't really know what it is. So I think that's where we're at for the mom character, the Watcher character, and we're still working on Ophelia's second best friend, uh, who I don't know what her name is. I really don't. Like I said, leave a comment below if you have any suggestions. Um, but yeah, I'm just gonna look into like Shakespeare and see if I can find a name that's kind of on par with Ophelia and Phineas and see what I find. Because I don't want it to be like Anna or like uh, Joe or something. That just seems weird. Um, Ophelia and Phineas and Joe, or Ophelia and Phineas and I don't know. I don't know what her name is just yet. Maybe she'll tell me. Maybe it'll pop up in my head and I'll be like, that's it. But right now we're still trudging along and trying to figure out what that is. I think I got about maybe like 20 more minutes on this video. Actually, maybe like 12 more minutes. I think right now I'm just looking for text that might go with the image I'm making. I think I settled on two that I really liked. I think it was this one, and then I made some adjustments to the font just a little bit. Nothing too crazy. Just did a little bit of adjustments. You could see it. I'm making the updates. Um, but yeah, I think that's where we're at so far. I can't really think of anything else about the story just yet. So far, we know she's in high school. She's got two best friends. She was in foster care. She kind of bounced around from house to house. That's probably why she's not super trusting. She's also going through this like body change, like this shift in her body that's happening. She's realizing that she's got this ability to like do this thing. But I'm also wondering if when when she gets embodied with this power, like maybe um the whole history of being um a slayer or a vampire hunter gets pretty much downloaded into her brain so that she understands what's going on. But yet she still needs her mom character, her Watcher character, to kind of suss out some things, right? So I think that might be interesting. So that way we don't have to do like a ton of explaining for her. We're not like explaining every time something happens. It could just be like it's explained once and we don't have to dive too deep into it. So that's what I'm thinking. That might be interesting. Um, but let's see. She goes to high school. I do make a poster later on. Um, I think I started making it a few days ago where like we see some like silhouetted figures that's kind of ominous. It's kind of like, ooh, who are they? Like, what are they doing? So I think that kind of leads to a little bit of like, it leads to a little bit of mystery of like the who the bad guys are. Obviously, if she's a slayer, she's, we kind of make it clear that she's a vampire slayer. So we're assuming that the people that are in silhouette at the school are vampires. So maybe like the principal has something to do with it, or like, and are these vampires like, can they go in the sun? Like, do they have to be like strictly no daylight type of thing, or can they be like twilight vampires? They don't twinkle. We're not going to twinkle in the sun or in the light, but can they be like twilight vampires where they can go out in the day? It just has to be like overcast type of thing, or like inside, like it can't be like that direct sunlight. We might do something like that just to make it more interesting, because I think like the idea that like like being out during the day feels safe and then being out at night feels safe. But I think if we can make it so that like you're not safe, you're there's always that possibility of like something happening during the day, I think is just a little bit less predictable than like everything bad just happens at night. Also, like Buffy would go, what would she do? She would go like, I don't even remember what they called it, but she would like go slayering at a certain time of the night. And I don't really know if they, like, I don't know how much could she really get into, like if she's only doing it for like what, an hour or two at night. Like how many big bads are they really gonna is she really gonna get into? So I feel like having this kind of like more honed in idea of one of her friends having these visions, um, can be more targeted as opposed to just like, well, if we see a vampire doing something vampire-y, we'll just, stab him and be on our way type of thing. Whereas like this can be more, um, yes, we could still do like the whole trolling at night, but patrolling. We'll go patrolling, and I just said patrolling a lot there. We could go, go patrolling at night, and if we do see anything, then we see something, and if we don't, then we don't. But then like there's these bigger situations that come through Phineas that take a little bit more energy and time to like battle through. So that's the other thing we need to figure out, like the big bad. Like I don't know who that is yet. Like I said, it might be something school related, which is kind of like, well, no, he was the mayor of Sunnydale, not the principal. Which I think, like in the first two seasons, it was very easy to kind of make the principal the the bad guy, because he definitely gave off like a something's going on with me vibe. Um, but then I think there were other things that happened at the school too. So I don't know, maybe something like that could happen where like something's going on at the school. Maybe. I think that would make sense though, because then like it kind of has a thing to go back to. We're not just um we're not just kind of like out here willy-nilly. Like we have like a home base for our evil for our evil entity. Um but what that is, I don't know. Like, are they trying to brainwash children? Like, are they like, what are they doing? Are they using the school as like a blood factory or something? I don't know. We'll see. If y'all have ideas, comment below. Let me know. And we could talk about it and see what we can get into from there. Um, let's see. Aside from that, I think we did a lot of talking in this, like, a lot of brainstorming in this 45 minutes I've been talking. I'm excited for y'all to see the rest of the stuff that I've been coming up with. I think bullet points for next time, I think we'll have maybe more of a story, kind of not necessarily outlined, but just kind of more things written down. Maybe I'll do a little like side video while like you're watching me draw or whatever, of like what I've kind of come up with and such. But I'm not sure. Hold on, give me a minute. I need to drink some water. Ooh. Yeah, when you talk for like 45 minutes straight, water is important. Um, but I think that would be a good idea to kind of just have some bullet points of things that we want to like develop and figure out, story wise. Still looking for the second best friend's name. Still trying to nail down kind of a story idea. Like we don't need the whole story like panned out. Like that's not what we're looking for right now. Right now we're just kind of building these characters, getting kind of an overview for what the story is gonna be for this first, dive into Roller Slayer. Um, and I don't know what else. I think I have a good idea for the foster mom, so she feels good. I don't feel like I don't know if I need more. Like I'm sure there's going to be more characters, but I just don't know if like I need to do more. I think Phineas is nailed is a oh sorry, hold on. I think Phineas is nailed down. I think we got him. He's good. I think Ophelia is is nailed down. I think she's good. Um, the only thing is, I'm trying to still figure out the second character, the second best friend. She's not nailed down just yet, but I'm hoping we get her nailed down hopefully this week. I also want to make her fun to draw. I've also noticed that that's one of the reasons why I I am having a hard time with her because I don't know if she's fun to draw yet. So hopefully I will find a way to make her fun to draw, and she will be. But yeah, it looks like the video, we have about maybe 5 more minutes left on the video. Um, Thank you all for listening to my little ramble about like this story and developing it and these characters and this world. Um, I know I'm using Buffy as like a really big influence, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that, per se. Um, I think the story is not gonna be the same at all, so I don't see it. Like, there's many stories that have like a main character with two best friends, and then you have that like outside parental, um, influence kind of thing. I'm trying to think of who that could be. I mean, I guess True Blood was kind of like that, but she wasn't a slayer. She was a fairy, I think, or something like that. And she had her best friend Tara, and then Tara's cousin kind of became, or like maybe True's brother. I don't know. I don't know if siblings are always necessary. It might be interesting if she did have a sibling at some point, like maybe they got lost in foster care or something and she's been trying to get back to her or something like that, or him. I don't know. Would it be interesting if there's another Slayer? Probably, but I don't think I would want to do it the way that they did it for Buffy and Faith, or Buffy and Kendra and Buffy and Faith. Um, but I don't know. I don't know. Um, but yeah, as you can see, like I've settled on the font. I do like it. I liked how like rough it looked. I do feel like it's a little heavy though. You can't really see the word Slayer like zoomed out the way it is. Even though I did add like a little outline, kind of a little, I guess, highlight shadow behind Slayer. Um, but I did use a different font, and that seemed to kind of lighten it a little bit. Um, so I don't really know which font I would go with. I'm still toying around with fonts right now and how I want it to look. But I don't know. I'm excited about what you're seeing here. It looks really interesting to me. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. And with that said, we still have 2 minutes to go, so I'm like trying to close up, and like there's still things. I guess I could just cut the video, because I'm not doing anything. You're just staring at the screen. But anyway, so I'll do that. So with that said, I will see y'all next week with another episode. I believe we're still doing some more character development, and we'll talk more about that. But I'll see y'all next time. Thanks for listening. Bye.